Okay, welcome back, everybody. Now we're going to tackle the summative assignment or assessment for Unit Standard 114895. I'm going to share my screen with you and we can go through the summative assignment and see what to answer there. Okay, let's just minimize these things. Okay, so now we are, here's I've got the learner guide open over here and I've got the summative assignment over here open. So let's go through the summative assignment for the first part of it, just to see what needs to be completed here. Here you need to put your full name in there and your ID number and your cell number, and this will be completed by the assessor. You needn't worry about that. And then you can read the guidelines here. For the assessor, you can read the learner's guidelines over here. You're required to achieve a minimum of 70% in order to be found competent. So please bear that in mind. Don't miss questions out. Answer all the questions. All right. You have the right to appeal the decision. We've been through that before with the introduction. You can read that as well. If you have any special needs, please list them over here so that we can take care of them or consider them. And then don't forget to sign here in black pen and put the correct date, the date that you're doing the summative assessment or assignment right there. Okay, let's have a look at the questions here. Define and explain the difference between wholesale and retail. So wholesale is when you're purchasing in bulk, and retail from like bulk from macro or from a supplier, whereas retail is when you're selling to consumers. That's the answer for that one there. Describe three subsectors of the retail. Let's have a look at that. Subsectors. Here they are here. There we go. So you'll find this on this page over here. What page is this? This is on page 7. So they're department stores, so you can just describe three of them: department stores, discount stores, supermarkets. Just choose any three of these and just put a brief description here on them. Okay. Identify and describe 5 types of retail outlets. Okay. So here again, you can add another 5 inside here. The 3 subsectors, let's just have a look at the subsectors. So subsectors are food products. Sorry, I apologize. The subsectors on question 6.2, food products, hard goods, and soft goods. You just need to list those over here. Okay. Then identify and describe 5 types of retail outlets. These are the types of retail outlets here. Choose any 5 and put a brief description for them over here. Like you'd say, department stores, very large stores offering a huge amount of soft and hard goods. Then you would choose another one. You choose any 5 of these. Okay. Name and define the possible types of stakeholders. Let's have a look at stakeholders here. Let's just go there. All right, here we go. Here's the stakeholders. So let's go here. Typically, these would be the stakeholders would be shareholders, employees, suppliers, business owners. Those are typically the main side of it. So that's what the kind of answer we want here: employees, shareholders, suppliers. That let's just see what else we got here. Investors. Okay, that's also one of them. Okay, so there you go. So just list the 5 here. And you'll see them over here: beneficiary shareholders, registered shareholders, suppliers, employees, and yeah, that's pretty much what that boils down to there. Define and describe the type of customer profiles. Let's have a look at that over here. Okay. Let's just see. Let's just try another one. If customer no, let's just try another way. Let's just try and do this a different way. Profile. There we go. Here we go. So there's the customer profile there. So the types of different profiles. There's customer benefit. Okay. Profiles, psychological profiles might be money that the customer has, time that the customer has, the duration, and those are also part of the profiles there. Okay, so psychological self-esteem of the customer. You can bring these in here, and you'd be able to answer this question. These you can find on page 14 of 44. Let's have a look here. Describe and explain what customer shopping patterns are like. Let's try and see if we can do that. I see there's an error there. F, patterns. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay. Here we'll describe this ourselves here. Customer shopping patterns are relating to how much money they have, how much time they have, how often they visit the store, whether they use the convenience store or whether they're just there to fill up fuel. You can just bring those into this question here. That's how the pattern of shopping that the customer does. Do they stop? Do they buy bread and milk? Do they just fill up the car, check oil and water? That's the kind of thing you might bring into customer shopping patterns. Describe and explain the factors that define the target market for a retail shop. So let's have a look over here. Target. Some of these are a little bit duplicate to what we've known before. Let's have a look. There we go. So there's the target market there. So your target market, I'd like you just to describe here the target market your company has. So the target market for a fuel retailer would be people wanting to fill up their vehicles, check their oil and water and tire pressure, and people who may want to make use of the convenience store to purchase bread, milk, chocolates, pies, etc. That's the target market, and the target market might be anybody who owns a vehicle, okay, that needs to be filled and checked and oil and water checked, and also the profile of a person or target market might be somebody who's using the convenience store to purchase a pie and Coke, etc. If you put those down, you will get the marks here. So you can find further information here on segmenting it and so on page 13 of 44. Okay, describe how your store is marketed. Provide examples. How is your store marketed? Are there flyers? Do they use social media? Do they use advertising boards outside? Do they drop flyers off? Is it by word of mouth? So let's have a look. Maybe there's some further information here. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, let's have a look here into benefit here. Ellie. Okay, so I think just this is a practical question here, asking you, how do you guys go about it at your fuel retailer? Do you um, use flyers? You could say flyers, word of mouth. We've got billboards outside our store. We've got colorful branding. That would make up really how you are advertising or marketing your store. Maybe even social media is used. You could be, I mean, if you were the Astron or whatever, they're even using advertising on TV. You could bring that into it too, yeah. Okay, at least 5 functional departments. So let's go and have a look at departments here. There we go. So there's the departments there, and you would want to list this as this is here: operations, human resources, and bring these in here for the functions. Finance, okay, is another one there. Food, bring this food and textiles, okay, bring that in as well, please. So these all needed to be added to this list here for 25 marks here. Bring these in, okay. And that'll cover that question there. Briefly describe the stock flow. Let's have a look at that. Okay. Here's the stock flow here. Stock flow is dependent on cash flow, because if we don't have any cash, we can't buy stock. The availability of transport and infrastructure to bring the stock to us. Stock holding capability, in other words, have we got enough storage space that we can only order a certain amount? And then how often do we need to replenish the stock that is in our store? Is it daily, weekly, or so there it is there. So you could also have a look at this and this table here, but it's just a brief description here that stock is dependent on pretty much these issues here. Okay, I'd like you to bring these issues in here. Those are the issues there for this question 6.10. So cash flow also is okay. Define cash flow. So cash flow is the in and out of money into the business. Money comes into the business by means of sales, and it goes out of the business by means of paying employees, buying new stock, etc. Okay, and have a look at this legislation section here. Okay, forms of legislation. Here it is here. It lost it. There it is there. Okay, so briefly describe. So this one is asking us, name and describe the objectives. Here are the objectives. In essence, there, I just need you to list those objectives there. Okay. And you could bring in maybe one or two of these to say the basic employment of Condition of Employment Act, Employment Equity Act, and the Labor Relations Act. Just list three of them there to show that you understand the types of legislation that we have in South Africa to protect people and employees. Here's a question about shrinkage here. Let's have a look at this. There it is there. So there we go. There's the definition of shrinkage. You can find that on page 39. I just need that definition over here. Then 5 types of shrinkage. Let's have a look here. Let's just go here. Shrinkage. Okay, there's also a definition. You could use that definition as well if you wanted to. Okay, and the types of shrinkage here they are here. So this one here, identify 5 types of shrinkage: shoplifting, employee theft. I'd like you to list these, please, if you can. Those need to be listed here. Okay. And what preventative measures? So for each one of these, shoplifting, we would have cameras. Employee theft, cameras again, or searching employees before they leave. Stock damage, checking stock before it arrives or when it arrives and making sure it's in good order. Administrative errors, that's through the cashier. Incorrect stock counting, that is stock counting errors, okay? Pricing errors by the cashier again. Vendor fraud, in other words, people are stealing from the vending machines, and perishable goods not sold within the lifespan. In other words, a lettuce goes off. Just use those there and provide an example to gain your 25 marks here. All right. And let's see what else we got here. Identify whether the following statements are true or false. You need to complete these on your own. Have a look at the learner guide and then try to complete these as true or false. And that's the end of the summative assessment for 114895. So that's you will receive feedback on that. And please, this book needs to be handed back to Rion. If you've got any questions regarding this book, please do send it to, send them on the WhatsApp group to Rion, and he will certainly assist you with what needs to be done. Oh, sorry, just one last thing. Just have a look at below the summative assignment. Let's just share it one more time here. Make sure everybody signs in the right places. So you would need to be signing. You're not there. You'll need to sign here and put the date that you've done the summative assessment. Don't forget to agree to these here. Sign and date as well as the learner. Okay. And then you need to sign over here and date it the date that you've done it as well. And that's the end of the summative assignment for 114895. Okay, wishing you all the best from my side, and I'll be back shortly or again with a further unit standard. Thanks so much for your time. All the best.